Pride Rules MMA with your host, Tommy D, and el Profesor Omar. Special thank you to our sponsors, ADK Fightwear, Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, Madama Jiu-Jitsu, and of course, Fightbook MMA.
Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back. It is Monday night and your favorite host of Pride Rules MMA, brought to you by Fightbook MMA, is back. Omar, Rudy, great to see you guys. We're here again on a beautiful Monday night with one hell of a polar vortex that we had ripping through the East Coast as well as everybody else across the country. Are you thawing out as we speak, Omar?
I'm just glad I wasn't in Chicago. People didn't die off this shit. You know, like God rest everybody over there.
Yeah, the Midwest was getting ripped through. But of course, as Rudy so kindly put to me before, it was sunny in 86 where he is in Texas today. It's just a little salt in the open wound there.
86.
Well, you know what? With all the cold that was happening, there was something that was heating up the nation and the world this weekend, which was the ESPN Plus, the UFC on ESPN Plus, with an amazing event with Marlon One Punch Moraes headlining against Rafael Assunção. Just so everybody knows, we were supposed to have a guest on tonight. Demetrius Plaza, the demigod of MMA, was supposed to be joining us tonight. He is getting ready for his Bellator debut. But, hey, the guy's got to train. It's late night. He's got a family to feed. We are going to reschedule and have him on again. He is Omar's teammate, who is also another student of Mr. Mike Wacker, he's bringing Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu to the cream of the crop, man. Bring him up to the top.
Bellator, man. Holy balls.
So we're definitely going to look forward to getting Demetrius on. We're going to coordinate a little bit better for his schedule because he does have that fight coming up on February 16th at the Mohegan Sun Center again with he's fighting on that amazing card with Paul Daly against MVP, the fight that finally gets to happen. I can't wait for us to cover that fight here when we have him on the show. But tonight, fellas, let's jump into this past weekend's event. So normally we always just go for the main card, but there was an undercard fight that had a fighter that at one point was talked about as being probably the next welterweight champion of the world, and Mr. Thiago Alves. I don't know where exactly. Where do they keep finding him?
And he's a little Indian in the cupboard.
I'm telling you.
They just take him out of the big blue box.
They just take him out every once in a while. Like I
dust him off.
Sense. I guess
it makes sense.
Yeah, it's the Brazilian card, and I got to tell you what, I thought he was done in that first round. Yeah. I thought he was done, and it was over, and he pulls out the win.
He did that a couple of times, though, didn't he? Like in his last few fights, I want to say maybe a couple of fights ago, where I thought he was getting tattooed, and then he came back and did some little Brazilian wizardry. But I don't know, man. I'm excited that he's still alive. I don't think it's good for. I don't think it's good for his head health. He really doesn't need to be doing any more of this unless he got outstanding debts. I don't know what they do down at ATT in terms of the price structure and shit. It might be like a little bit of Amway action down there. I get suckered into, but what are you gonna do? He's doing the damn thing, and he
still got it.
He's hanging like Max Griffin isn't a bitch. Like he's not. And any American that gets on a plane and goes to fight on these Brazil cards has nuts of stone, in my opinion, because it's worse than going to Japan and fighting a Japanese fighter, because at least like
what is it? What did they say?
Be respectful.
What is it? Uwe Maher? Is that all you hear?
Yeah. Yeah, but like, you know, and that's, you might get assaulted on your way to and from places and stuff. Like it's a rough business sometimes, but I don't know, split decision. Thiago have 36 fights, bro. He's up there with like, he's fighting his age at this point in time. And I think Tommy left us. So I hope Rudy's still listening to the show and loves us. I think Tommy.
I'm still here. I don't know what the fuck happened to Tommy.
I don't know. He just zapped out. I think he got mad when I mentioned his age. I said,
no,
I did, dude.
I didn't hear anything. It just, everything just went blank.
Stop lying.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Sorry about that, folks.
You just got to deliver.
These damn technical difficulties. It might
It's
be
about
the spot in my house. So what was it that you were saying, sir?
I was just saying, like, the dude's 36 fights. Isn't he 36 years old? That's some bullshit.
Yeah, I thought he was older than that. I guess not. I mean, it's just we've been seeing it forever.
He's older than that in like actual years. He's got that Nogueira weathering that's starting to set in. Old shoe leather. Christ, man.
Hey, you know what, man?
155? Remember that shit?
Yes.
And everywhere. Like, I don't know. What's he get? What kills me is this. Like, deep down, what is he getting paid as like a fifth fight on this card? What do you think? Like, is it worth? Like, I mean, okay, yeah, it's his hometown. You know, maybe is he one of those guys that's betting on himself at this point? And then that's what he's hoping for is win bonus.
But I mean, I guess it's a name that would get people excited. I mean, especially for the undercard, you know.
Yeah, 1996, man. Like what? Like, it's fucking.
Hey, man. In Brazil, they respect their warriors. I mean, it's
gonna be like having George Walker or George Bush the First come out and try to leg kick Carl at this point. Like we're in age wise, it's not right, man. All right, he's gonna die when he's 45, which is 3 years from now.
I mean, look at it this way: if you were to say you're gonna put Minotauro Nogueira on an undercard in Brazil, even though everybody knows he's past it, they're still going to come out to see him fight because
he's going to get wheeled out.
Yeah, it's
wheeled out. He'll fight in a walker.
It's the same thing with Thiago, and
he'll have the tennis balls on the two front parts of the walker. Okay, bro.
He should have had that age. He should have had that after the pile driver from Bob Sapp.
You know how many times he shouldn't have continued to fight? There's at least like 6 fights where I could say this should have definitely been him stopping. Right?
Every Fedor fight?
I swear to oh my God. I read an article where he was trying to make one of his last 2 comebacks. And he's like, oh, I got a physical therapist now. And I got this doctor that I'm seeing. I'm like, unless it's a witch doctor, bro, you've done too much stuff to your body, you know? And he's one of those guys where it's like I would almost be okay with seeing him do all the steroids. Same with Dan Henderson, and then just like the recovery stuff. But I don't know. It's
but you go back. But to go back to Thiago, don't you remember when he beat Matt Hughes?
I remember
that, shocked the world that he beat Matt Hughes.
For a time there, I feel as though his physical capability outpaced his fight IQ a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so he coasted on like tremendous gifts and killer instinct. And then he hit a rough patch, and then his fight IQ improved. The man's got 36 fights for a reason, right? But then his physical gifts have been deteriorating. So it's never quite like they both hit on all cylinders at the same time. Because if they had, he definitely would have grabbed the strap for a little while, I think. Honest to God. I mean, even in a division with the people that he was in the division.
You think he, at his tip-top best, he would have been able to beat GSP?
If he had gotten his shit together, yeah. I think on any given day, his striking is so potent that I think he would have been able to. If he had been at his top best, right?
Mm-hmm.
And been in there instead of Riggs, I think he would have knocked out GSP.
Really?
I do. Absolutely. The GSP I saw that fought Johnny Riggs was a GSP that got dragged to that cage to have that last fight.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. I don't know. I thought it was pretty wrong.
I could be crazy.
All right,
just
take
might
it
be a
easy.
lunatic you're looking for. Exactly.
Take it. You're not in New York anymore, Billy. Okay.
God damn it! Don't
I
remind me.
don't think there's too many artists that come out of Maryland.
Not any good ones. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Name one.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. Name one.
Yeah. That's the reason why every concert I've been to has been a club show. Everybody does this after hitting Brooklyn and on their way to fucking Philadelphia. Like they just do a little curl. And
they stop there before they go to DC.
100%. And that's why all the shows have been on fucking Sunday. Some of us have work on Monday. You heathen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
well, look, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool to still see him out there. I mean, I don't think this is going to come of anything. I mean,
no.
I don't see him fighting on any main cards anytime soon.
The top 15 or the top 20 of the welterweight division beats the shit out of him right now.
Could be. Maybe they put him in there against Askren after Askren's done beating the shit out of poor Robbie Lawler.
Why would you do that, though? Like, why would you? No, man. Did you hate Thiago Alves?
No, but hey, those leg kicks, you never know.
Really?
You never know.
He was fighting against every possible juice head overseas. I don't give a shit what they were testing. They were testing hydration, but I'm not 100% sure that they were testing for other substances, nor do I care, because that's what I want out of ONE FC. And he was still ragdolling everybody. So you're telling me that, okay.
Hey, look, all right. I'm trying to build some kind of want for Thiago Alves.
No, give him your boy.
Who?
Oh shit. CM Punk.
Could you imagine the leg kicks on him? He wouldn't make it out of the first 30 seconds. He would take two of those and then just drop. That would be it.
Take two and see somebody else in the morning. Not Thiago, though.
Oh, no, wait. I forgot. He's commentating for CFFC now. I forgot.
Well,
he found the gig.
Well, it was always great on the mic, so God bless him. And I hope he makes a lot of money. But I think Jimmy Smith needs a gig. So let's get the Pretender out of that slot.
Hopefully they can trot him out there for another couple fights, even on an ESPN card.
What, like Ronald Reagan towards the end of his presidency, bro? You're not making any, like, seriously. His wife gonna do the fighting for him? Because we all know that's what happened during Ronnie's last 2 years.
Hey man, he took the beating and kept going and came out with the victory. Come on, Dana rides things till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, including his.
And then when he's done, he passes him off to Oscar De La Hoya.
Wow, that's not the things. You're not even remotely wrong, not even a little bit wrong. And I heard a little birdie told me that pay-per-view had like 10 buys, or something just obscenely low. It was
what
the Golden Boy Promotions didn't have like 20 to 25,000 buys. Something just really.
The max was 50,000.
That's generoso, but okay.
Yeah.
I feel you're in a giving mood. It's not Christmas, but I guess.
And hey, wait, here's the best part. I'm sure that was probably better than some of the UFC on Fox pay-per-views.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. There's a crisis of something going on in MMA, Bill.
But you know what? I could tell you one thing. I think this ESPN Plus app is doing pretty well. They've got 2 fights up. They've had 2 events on there already.
Mm-hmm.
Both events were action-packed, knockouts, submissions. It was excellent. It was honestly excellent. So we're going to jump onto the main card right now. And this one hurts our heart very, very much because Justin Lizette, he is a buddy to this show. He was on our 100th episode. He was a lot of fun having on. I think half of Texas called in when we had him on the show that night. You remember?
We had his old coach.
We had to start turning calls away.
Yeah. We had I want to say that was the most ardent show of love for any fighter we've had.
Yep.
On our show, as much as I hate the 86 and Sunny, I got to give my hats off to Rudy's part of the world there, because they support their own, man.
Yeah, I just turning calls away, like we felt so guilty turning calls away for people that were actually waiting to get on to talk.
Sure, I felt like a dickhead, but we had 3 in queue, and it was already an hour and 40-minute show because we had amazing call-ins. It wasn't that it was like a shit-tastic whatever, like, oh, I can't believe we're getting through. No, there was genuine people that loved the guy. One of them wanted to fight him. It was weird. It was a weird situation.
Unfortunately, he ran into a Brazilian named Johnny Walker. I'd love to know what his real name is. Yeah,
not his real fucking name.
I'd love to know what his real name is. But I mean, look,
he's got papers on him in the favela. That's why his name is Johnny Walker.
This kid is wow.
Yeah, he is. He's a bad motherfucker, though. Like,
now I gotta ask you. So this is the second fight at light heavyweight that Justin has lost. Do you think maybe heavyweight was more in his wheelhouse because of his boxing skill and his speed at heavyweight? He was a lot faster than most of those heavyweights. Do you think heavyweight was kind of in his wheelhouse, and light heavyweight he might kind of get lost in the fray?
I think so, because what it reminds me of hand speed wise is, say like a Junior Dos Santos, right? Kind of like in that kind of situation where it's like he technically, if he really wanted to, and maybe got cranial reduction surgery, he could go down to 205. I'm talking about Junior. I'm not talking about Justin.
Yeah, no, I know who you meant.
Yeah, for sure. Not all respect to Justin, and never get rid of that mullet, no matter how much it weighs, bro. But it's he'd probably be 185 without that luscious mane. But I think that you just have that market speed advantage, and then you go into it, and you can't not. He's already he's got 11 fights. This one made him 9-2. You have a style in your mind, right? So in your head, you're like, okay, I have hand speed on my opponents. For the longest time, he did, and he had accuracy. He had good footwork. He ran into a couple hiccups here and there, but let me tell you, man. I mean, he had a market advantage in that arena. I don't think he has it at light heavyweight, and then I don't think his style has changed to compensate for that. I think he could have like strength and manhandle people because he's used to then. So it's like trade-offs. He's used to fighting the bigger boys. So if he drops down to light heavyweight, or as he should do a different sort of situation, like take pot shots in clinches and away from clinches, say, but hang on them, like you're used to moving heavier people, so do that. But he's not going to do that. His style is he wants to be the sniper that he was at heavyweight. I don't think he has the speed at that weight class.
No, at that weight class, he's going to need leg kicks for one. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was getting lit up with leg kicks in the fight previous to this one.
Yeah, or at least checking them a little better.
Yeah,
it's some familiarity with the tool.
And I know he does have some groundwork. I saw that he's going to be participating in a professional grappling, like a super fight kind of thing, which is awesome because I kind of remember a certain podcast making that suggestion to him when he was first on our show. I remember that. I wonder who said that. Oh, wait, it was me.
I was going to say quiet and learned individual, but you jumped the gun. I would have set you up, Not a mean
so I know he's definitely working on his ground game and stuff like that, but it seems like heavyweight was kind of more in his wheelhouse for, like we said, with the speed. And if you guys haven't seen any of Justin Ledette's earlier fights in the UFC, you really need to check him out, because I forget what the first guy's name was that he fought in the UFC. It was this blonde dude. He beat the living piss out of this guy. That guy's head looked like a speed bag. It was nonstop snapping. He had zero head movement whatsoever, except where Justin was putting his head with each punch. And then his fight against Zhu Anyu, which Zhu ended up getting busted, I guess, for a diuretic, and he was never seen back in the UFC again after that. But Justin pulled out the victory against him, and this was the CFFC heavyweight champion who beat our buddy Sean Teed.
Mhm.
So it's like he's an official kid. Look at it.
Mm.
He's a pro
Mhm.
boxer. He was undefeated as a pro boxer. So boxing is right in his wheelhouse. His fight against Zoo at heavyweight, which as far as light heavyweight goes, I think it's too tough. There's way too many wrestlers. Up at heavyweight, at least he's got more stand-up guys, except for this Johnny Walker kid, who just his style is amazing, but I think he's going to end up running into a motherfucker, and that style is going to kind of be negated.
Prohibition's going to fuck him up, I'll tell you, like that. But that's going to put him down for a few years.
Yeah. Like when Anthony Smith is done getting beat by John Jones, I think Anthony Smith can beat this Johnny Walker kid.
Johnny Walker. I mean, yeah, that tells you how excited I am to see any of the fights you just mentioned, except for any that has going to north to the heavier lands here. But I mean, I'm really hung up on the fact that this guy's name is fake, and I'm gonna do this.
I know.
I can't get past it. It's really throwing me off, and I'm just, But
I mean, the awesome thing about him is he's animated, so that was really cool. And him and Justin, they both showed signs of respect before the fight even started with the handshake when he was running around. That was pretty cool. It did get a little hairy when he almost decided to soccer kick Justin.
I saw him taper that bitch, and I was like, oh!
it missed. It did miss. They showed the replay.
For 2 seconds there, I'm like, I was super nervous because it's Justin. I don't want to see a friend get fucking soccer kicked. And B, I'm like, oh, don't let it end off this bullshit. Like, don't, fucking hit midair, hit air. Please don't do it.
What it would have done would have ruined a beautiful spinning back fist. That spinning back fist is amazing.
That was out of a comic book a little bit. But I think Justin, what it reminds me is everybody would always call for Fedor to drop down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everybody. And I think Fedor would have had a career like what he had against Ryan Bader more often. He even ended up having.
Oh God, I didn't want to talk about that. I don't even want to think about that.
But you know what it saddened me too because Ryan the masturbator. I mean, I still can't get that video where he's got no pants on and he's trying to show a dude how to put his head on the outside for a single, and it's just like, oh Christ, they pixelate it. He has pants on, I hope.
So do you think that Randy Couture was imitating Ryan Bader with his little video?
God, let's not. You had to get me with something that I didn't want to think about. I got you with the fight, and you're like, okay, you're gonna hurt like I hurt. Thank you, Courtney Love. But it's just I don't know. I want him to see him move up. That's all.
Yeah. So what do you think's next for? I know I said Anthony Smith. I said it as kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke, but
I'm not. I don't think
they're gonna skyrocket this kid now because of everything that we just mentioned. He's animated. He knocks people out. He's exciting
a good Brazilian face for that
now.
division. He's a good Brazilian face for that division. Like they have a little bit of a dearth of, I mean, I still think they're counting on Shogun to fly the guy.
They kind of lost that with Shogun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Shogun. That's not the least of. That's not the most of what Shogun's lost. Period.
Who's probably still ranked number 10 somewhere.
Honestly, I swear, I think the writers forget that it's not based on looks, and they're still like, well, he was on Big Brother, right? Wasn't he?
He's somehow rated higher than Corey Anderson.
He's somehow rated higher than people that have beat him or legitimately can definitely beat him. That's MMA math can be screwy sometimes, Tommy, but that's ridiculous.
Especially when you're letting Adelaide Bird do your ranking system.
Adelaide Bird would not get allowed to do the books for an organized mob. It's not. That's how janky she is. All right.
She could in New York.
Yes. All right. That was one time. All right.
But who do you think they give him next?
I like the Anthony Smith.
It's got to be somebody in the top 10.
I guess, but I like the Smith because Smith is going to get destroyed by Bones. Picograms, not picograms. I think he has a lifetime okay now from that. If I read a thing, so microdose like a motherfucker. Yeah, so why not? Anthony's going to need somebody to bounce back to. Maybe, you know what? Crazy thought, wild thought. How about giving him Gustafson?
Ooh.
Right? You have
that sounds great.
Wait, what'd you say?
What?
I said that sounds fucking awesome.
Right? Yeah.
I see. Yeah. It's a big stakes for both parties. You have maybe, is Johnny going to get exposed for getting jumped the line too early? But this is what his dynamism has called for, right? He's animated and he's also very, he knocks people out. Is Gus really done? Is he going to make another run? I don't think he's got another title run in him. I just don't. But maybe he wants to get a couple more paychecks so that he can pay the taxes in Sweden, being something like 80%. He's still going to take he's going to be a postal worker in his retirement. That's how much, but it's good benefits. So I just think that makes sense, man. He's not going to wrestle him. Right? And I'm not even saying Alex has shit wrestling, but maybe if he wants to, have the Glover Teixeira situation, although I don't think he's going to do to Johnny what he did to Glover.
No. I actually think Johnny will beat him.
Standing up,
I've never been high, and you know this. I've never been high up on Gustafson. That fight with John Jones was amazing because John Jones was like snorting blow probably right before
he was
went
doing
out.
A wild rail. So you beat like a tier 2 version, in my opinion, of John Jones, because imagine fighting that man on cocaine.
He beat the Oven St. Preux version of John Jones.
Yeah.
That's what he beat.
Honest to goodness, yeah, you're right.
Because you saw him in this past fight with Gustafson, and they didn't even look like the same fighters. Both of them.
It looked like a big brother, little brother situation.
Mm-hmm.
Once he got really into his groove, I was like, oh, that's not even. He just shifted his hips and went nuts.
And guys, we're not bashing Anthony Smith. We know, as I stated before, we know that Fight Book has a very big stake in getting Anthony Smith into the UFC because of an article written by Jency. That's great. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with the guy. But as we said before, there is John Jones and there is everybody else. And Anthony Smith's style, I do not think will stand up with John Jones whatsoever because of his grappling.
I don't know what style would, because the one guy I said style-wise that would ever give him problems is now in the heavyweight division, and he's the champ of the heavyweight division. Once that didn't pan out with Cormier multiple times, I don't know what the fuck to throw at this guy. I really don't. A more elite level wrestler, maybe make that the great equalizer, and that didn't happen. I got nothing for anybody.
So Smith and Johnny Walker would be an interesting fight because it would be a good stand-up war. Mm-hmm. Probably some wild shots thrown. One big mistake loses the fight. Now, with that fight, I think Smith would beat him just on his fight IQ alone.
Yes, I think he would. And if it got hairy, we might see a situation where Smith tries to wear him down and gets canny that way, picks him apart a little bit, and then pounces on him maybe third, fourth round with a burst and gets him out of there. They might lock horns a couple times in the first couple of rounds, and then, Smith might be like, you know what? I just came off this loss with Bones. I ain't trying to go, 0 for 2 in my last 2. Let me be smart. I can win this, and I think after Bones, again, not ragging on him at all. I think he has another run in him.
Yeah,
sure. I think he's first. So I'm higher on the.
Isn't Turnbull anti-aging?
Oh wow.
I mean, look, those picograms are staying in your system. They got to do something, right?
I don't know. I'm about to get out of it.
I know it's not going to increase his cock size because according to him, his dick's too big.
I almost flipped my car over when I heard that on Joe Rogan, and I downloaded the night before. I fired up. I'm like, oh, this one's gonna be a good one because I'm excited to hear Joe and the guy who runs Twitter. That's the latest one. That's gonna be a wild one. But my God, my dick is too big. Jones, my dick is too big.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely got another run in him. But is Johnny Walker the answer to John Jones? Doubtful.
What?
Doubtful.
What?
So it's like he's gonna have to move up. He's gonna have to get out of the light heavyweight division because it's just gonna eventually become uninteresting.
Yeah. No, it already kind of is. This Anthony Smith situation, he has no business fighting in the light heavyweight division anymore. He needs to go keep chasing his ultimate foil, which is weird to say because he's beaten him so often and pretty handily, steadily more handily, in my opinion. So, but it's still his biggest rival. Rivalries are going to make legacies, honestly. You know what I mean? Because you think of Ali, you think of like the wild turns that he had, with Frazier. That brought him out. And Foreman, that you always think of big foil. So I think that's how both their stars. But he needs to follow up into the heavyweight division and see what happens. And I'm more excited about that fight than anything else any one of them has on their docket. And they need to do it fast because DC wants to be super retired by now.
No, he's saying he's saying he might actually prolong it.
Well, yeah, because they're backing up the Brinks truck to his house. They're not stupid.
You know what I want to see? At this point, I'd love to see DC win. I want to see a champ defend both fucking belts.
No, that's not gonna happen.
At least once defend both fucking belts.
Okay, all right. That only happens in UFC 3, and I know you're the master of that. I'm not saying you're not, but that only happens in that fucking game. All right, nobody, and not for nothing. Unless I missed my guess, I haven't played it since I think a little bit of UFC 2. Doesn't that cut your career short a little bit? Jumping the weights.
I don't remember.
I think they shave a couple of fights.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I've played it. Since I'm not hanging out at the Candlewood Suite Studio in beautiful Sterling, Virginia anymore. I don't really get the time to sit there and play video games.
Just about fell off my chair.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. The division's kind of funky, and maybe it does need a guy like Johnny Walker just for the animation. And he's like who he reminds me of? Fabricio Verdum.
I got you.
As light heavyweight. That's
kind of goofy.
Yeah,
like really lively and doesn't take himself too seriously. Kind of. Okay. I could see that. He gave himself a really weird name. I don't know what they call Social Security numbers down in Brazil, but I'm gonna find out.
Please, Dana heard his name, and the only thing he was thinking of was marketing. Like, ooh, imagine if we get Johnny Walker to be a sponsor because we have Johnny Walker fighting. Yeah, real fucking stretch, Dana. Like he's praying for him to do well just so he can get Johnny Walker.
He's a regular marketing genius at that point. Like we can we'll have him fight in April. We'll get the White Walker to sponsor it. Yeah. Nah, bro. Relax. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, I mean, I guess the future's bright for him, so we'll see. But let's keep moving on here. So the next fight was holy shit. Charles Oliveira against David Tamer. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Oliveira got worked to death by Frankie, but this was some fight. And hey, in Brazil, finished it with an anaconda choke. He did the Nogueira.
Yeah, I mean, it's it likens back to their tribal heritage. But dude, he's looking good at 155.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since he made the jump back up, like I think he was sucked out at 145.
Yeah,
guys that shouldn't have been down there. He's long as shit. He's tall, and the one
thing about him is his head is made of fucking granite. Because I remember that fight with Frankie. Frankie was throwing harder punches than I've ever seen him throw, except for when he knocked out Gray Maynard in pretty much destroyed his career.
Yeah.
But he was hitting Oliveira with everything that he had, and the guy kept coming after him. He was like a Brazilian zombie.
He was, and he did the Lord's work. And I just think that the Forbes article that I saw today was talking about how, oh man, he might be a title contender. He's looking pretty decent. I mean, it was by Forbes, so I say stick to stock picks, guys. But for some reason they're gaming the Google system, and that's why they're showing up at the top of everybody's charts. Don't think I don't see that.
Yeah,
but yeah. But I think he's exciting.
Yeah,
I like that he can finish stand up and on the ground.
I think he'd be a good gatekeeper.
For sure. I think he's going to be, and he's going to settle into that role. He will always have a home on these Brazil cards, because if Thiago Alves can still fight at this Charles Oliveira is going to have a career for the next 30 years fighting.
Yeah, absolutely.
South of the equator. But
like, I mean, think about it. If you're going to think about the top of that division, Khabib's wrestling works him.
Kills him.
Tony Ferguson's stand-up beats him.
Tony Ferguson's everything is better. Like, he's just that much better at every little piece, I feel. Maybe straight jiu-jitsu. He might not be, but his positional grappling is just better with his wrestling background as well. And like you said, he pieces them the fuck up.
Yeah, so I don't really see much, but you have him go up against these maybe young and up-and-comers that are making a name for themselves.
I thought you were going to say up with the Yakuza, and I'm like, yo, shit, Do Bronx just became a video game. Like, I don't know.
Well, maybe he'll sign with one FC.
That would be amazing. I think it would be more exciting, in my opinion, or go to Bellator. He could be up force at Bellator. He should just go fight at 170 and figure stuff out with Rory Macdonald. Like, just say fuck it, put on mad size, because they really don't test out there, and they just go bananas.
That is not true. Bellator tests, and your buddy can attest to that.
I know. But still, I want to.
So can Liam. Damn it. So can Liam.
I want to see a steroid league, for fuck's sake. I just want to see everybody just fucking with steroids coming out of their eyeballs.
Hey, Rudy, I think we got to get Roberto to somehow find some funding and have the Fight Book MMA Juice League.
I swear to God,
we can do it already.
Yeah. You think Chemo will make a return?
Bet your ass he will.
Just donate to his church.
That's fucked up.
Saving souls.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, the fight was excellent, but it's also, David Tamer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saving up my lunch money to see David Tamer do much of anything. I mean, unless he was on Twitch and he wanted to show me how to get lucky emblems in Kingdom Hearts 3, like that shit's hard. But aside from that, it still was an exciting ass fight. So I will take it.
Absolutely.
But none of these guys should Forbes notwithstanding. Fine minds at Forbes MMA apparently. Nobody's a title contender off of this shit. Nobody should be. No. I'm sorry. I'm not saying the whole card, because I think Mariah's we're going to talk about how he should be. But this particular fight, no. God, no.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's hard for me to ask.
I haven't done them in a hallway 3 times a year, and
Evan's probably looking for work.
Right, that's what I mean.
Looking for work, I was going to say, what really does this mean for Oliveira? Except he had a great finish in the hometown.
Yeah,
very exciting. Maybe Dana throws him an extra $10 in the next event or something like that. He's going to fight. I don't really know.
He gives him one of those new belts, but in miniature.
He takes the $5 sign away from Mark Hunt, and he just
you bastard! When you said $5, you leave that man alone. All right. Rudy caped up for chemo. I'm gonna draw the line at a legend, Marcus Hunt. Let him go.
Yeah, his brother Mike was better.
Oh well, I mean, yeah.
Low hanging fruit, bro. Low hanging fruit.
I'm not gonna argue.
Oh man,
I'm
listen,
a red-blooded American male.
yeah, let's keep going with this, man. Because this next fight, it's funny. When I heard it announced, and I was watching it, I'm like, man, they're just really trying to throw any Brazilian legend they possibly can out there. And then it was like, all right, he's fighting Lyman Good. This is not going to be an exciting fight at all.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Like, it went exactly how everybody knew that it was going to go. Yeah. He was going to backpack him and put him out. And that's exactly what happened. And it's nothing against Lyman Good. It's just that's Demian fucking Maia.
He got Maia'd.
Yeah.
The D on the end there, but that's always going to happen to anybody that's not tip of
Woodley.
Yeah, that's not going to be a world beater or is on the way to being a world beater. That's just Maia has that style, and another guy that's always going to be trotted out on a stretcher for these Brazil cards.
Well, he did say he's only got a couple fights
left on
his. It's what he said. He goes, he's got like 2 fights left on his contract, and he'll see what happens after that.
And then do professional jiu-jitsu, because I'd love to see.
Oh my God! Could you imagine him in EBI?
He would be oppressive in EBI. I think
combat jiu-jitsu.
Or I think he'd be obviously better suited to combat jiu-jitsu because some of his movement is predicated on the mistakes that you make when you try to strike and get a little wild and crazy. Not to say that I don't think he'd be nasty in just straight up jiu-jitsu, but I think there might be like a 6-month ramp to getting used to it again.
I think straight up jiu-jitsu would be too unfair. You want my honest opinion? I think it would be too unfair. I think he would just destroy everybody.
I don't know. I think leg lockers might give him some trouble. I really do. In terms of just straight up jiu-jitsu, because I feel as though his style will translate the most from an MMA perspective. So anybody who has great MMA jiu-jitsu doesn't necessarily always have regular jiu-jitsu. I think his will, but I don't think it might be immediate. But I could
all right,
be wrong.
Here, let's get this signed up. Gordon, the King Ryan, against Demian Maia.
That'd be phenomenal. I mean, but Gordon's on the shelf for a second, no?
Well, didn't he just compete this past weekend?
Yeah, but at that event at Kasai Pro, right? He won, but I think he tore something a little bit in his knee. He was coming up into like a weird side saddle position, and I think something like a homeboy sprawled. And I was like, "Oh, you only did that to injure him." Like I saw them. If you look at the tape, dude, when we're done, you'll see it, and you're like, "Oh, that was a dick move." But it's against Gordon Ryan, so you do what you can. Aside from soccer kicking him when nobody's looking.
Well, I don't think Maia would be taking the jiu-jitsu fight like next week. He would probably do it when he's done with his contract. But I say you make that a jiu-jitsu. You could sell that super fight on Fight Pass, and you know what they need to start doing? Fuck the Fight Pass. No, fuck the Fight Pass shit. Start putting this shit on ESPN Plus.
That's a good idea. Then my $10 will get me a couple months.
Because we sit here and talk about how jiu-jitsu needs to be an Olympic event.
It does.
Start putting it on ESPN.
Yeah. Or at least, you know what? Have a tournament where the best judo guys and the best jiu-jitsu guys grapple, and then whoever wins.
There's a way to do it.
And then whoever wins gets the next Olympic slot, and it alternates. We could have 12 years of judo, and then followed by 16 of jiu-jitsu.
But that's as far as we really want to see Demian Maia go. Like, he's never going to fight for a belt within the next 2 fights.
I don't want to see him crushed anymore.
Who else are they going to trot him out there against that he hasn't fought already?
I don't know.
There's another one.
I want to see him against Ryan Hall, but that's different weight classes. But I don't give a fuck. I want to see the two of those. Go. Like a great jiu-jitsu match. I mean, Shit. There was a time when people were saying that Gunnar Nelson was going to be a great jiu-jitsu match for him, and how the fuck wrong were we? I was one of them where I was intrigued to see it. But
Not me.
Well, you were right, as most of the time you are. But like, holy balls, I didn't think it was going to be that bad. It's the Halo. I didn't think it was going to be that outrageous.
Yeah, and this is one of those fights where and nobody could say anything against Lyman Good here because this is what was supposed to happen.
Yeah. Lyman
came in
prepared. He looked good. Like he looked like he's not like Lyman said,
he looks
fuck
phenomenal. No, he looks phenomenal. But it's Demian Maia.
Yeah. Unless you're legit top 3 to 5 in the world. And not even in just your weight class, because I really think Maia could probably put a beating still on some of the lower guys at 185. Mm-hmm. I know that's where he came from, but his grappling style is just so suffocating that it doesn't fucking matter. You have to be upper echelon to give Maia any sort of trouble. And it's impressive.
When I think about Demian Maia, one of the fights that stand out to me the most, and it stands out to me the most because John Fitch was one of the best defensive jiu-jitsu players out there.
Yes.
His defensive jiu-jitsu was absolutely amazing.
Beat Jake Shields. Did he beat Jake Shields, or was it a draw when they did a grappling match? They did it like a grappling match.
I remember it was a long time ago. It was a great match.
Yeah.
But you watch that fight with him against Demian Maia, and Maia was putting him in every position you could possibly put him in.
And Fitch had the look on him. Like, what the fuck?
But he kept getting out of everything. But Maia he didn't run out of jiu-jitsu. That's the kind of guy that Demian Maia is.
No time limit match, Maia would have killed that man. But that's the type of style he has, where it's like he'll stay in a bad position for you and squeeze the life out of you millimeter by millimeter until you're like, fuck it, I give up. And you're right, Fitch. People sleep on Fitch, but Fitch still has like a nasty grappling game. And when he was at his peak, you could not tap that son of a bitch.
Mm-mm.
Like, and he was in there against some nasty grapplers. Like I mentioned, Jake Shields in a straight up grappling match back in the day. I mean, on to his credit, I think Jake might have still been eating meat back then, so it might have been a different Jake Shields. That's how far away ago it was. But not saying vegans are pussies. I'm not. But like,
no, vegan fighters aren't pussy.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like
fighters aren't.
Right, yeah, but don't buy a Hyundai. But but it's one of those things where it's just if you know the level of both of them and then you see the result, you're just like, how the fuck? Demian Maia is a genius.
Yeah, so I mean, well, with the last 2 fights he has left in his contract, maybe he does go and do grappling tournaments, or maybe he just opens a school if he doesn't have one already.
Yeah,
just lives off the fat of the land.
Yeah, or does the seminar thing if he likes traveling, right? Who wouldn't want to have Demian Maia come to their school? He could do that for the next 10 years.
Could you imagine a Demian Maia, John Danaher seminar?
My head just exploded. It's not the one you can see.
It just went from 6 to midnight.
Oh, it went from 6 to I think 1 because it tilts. But
I actually just saw the microphone move up a little bit higher than it usually is.
Oh, you give me too much credit. Far too much credit. But I appreciate it.
On a phone book.
No, it's a lawnmower repair book. So it's yeah, you're welcome. But I would pay a lot of money for that situation. I really would.
We'll see. Like I said, 2 fights left, so we'll see what happens. All right, so let's roll on to the co-main event of this evening when we were talking about somebody who was probably done or thought he was done. Jose Aldo comes out and destroys Renato Moicano. I can't, and it's so fucked up. Every time I hear this Moicano kid's name, all I think of is South Park. What would Brian Boitano do? It's the only thing I can think of, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, is Jose Aldo back, or did he just fight a guy who wasn't on his level?
Really?
I know.
Are we? Come on.
Well, he's another one who says he only has a couple fights left on his contract, and he's probably going to retire.
Well, when Demian Maia says it, I believe it. When Jose Aldo says it, I think he's trying to position himself to get paid.
You know what, though? For Demian Maia, the guy, I guess you could, if you're an asshole, would think he still had more to prove because he never won a belt. You know, he only fought for the belt how many times? Twice?
Yeah, once at 185, I believe. No.
Yeah, because he fought Anderson Silva.
So one of the worst fights of all time.
He fought Anderson Silva, and then he fought Tyron Woodley. Aldo was a champ forever. The guy legit has nothing left to prove for anybody. He's only just honoring his contract. He's got nothing left to prove. Oh God!
I'm saying he'll never get that one back. It's a bad look. That's tough. That's gonna mar his. I know it mars him mentally.
It's a bad look, but you know what? He'll still be a Hall of Famer.
Sure, absolutely. That's not taking away the fact that he still run shit in the MMA prison yard.
And I mean, he doesn't tap the rear naked chokes twice.
You're right about that. He has the decency to go out and or at least hand fight. I think that's the thing they show you. What, your third class in?
Yeah, about that.
Like 2-on-1, right? That's all. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that shitty jiu-jitsu, I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but this is just too funny. Did you see that Dylan Dennis said he wanted to fight Steven Seagal in Bellator?
Dildo Dennis.
Yeah, Dildo Dennis.
Dildo Dennis. Dildo Baggins.
Steven Seagal, really?
You don't want to fuck with Akio, all right? I know what all y'all got to say, all right? But, all right, if my man's out for justice, all right, Dylan Dennis is going to be under siege.
I mean, he is hard to kill.
We could. Oh, I love the fact that we could. Yeah, if I'm better prepared, we can carry this on for. I feel like you might have more in your bag.
I didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but before it left my mind and I forgot about it, I couldn't.
I hadn't seen that because I have a filter on my search results that takes away most of the bullshit. Why? Why? Just why?
Because he thinks it's going to make him money somehow.
He's just trying to stay relevant, and like he's Nicole Richie that can rap. He's trying to tweet out wild bullshit just to stay in the public eye.
All right, let's get back on track here. So. With the Aldo situation, like we said, he said he only has a couple fights left. Do you think he should just seriously ride off into the sunset? Or do you think somebody like him could go to ONE FC because he's a big name? I don't think he'll do the Bellator thing. I really don't. I'd see him going to ONE FC.
I don't want to see him ever get soccer kicked, and I feel like somebody's going to make him the next Roger Huerta.
But could you imagine him soccer kicking?
It would be disgusting, but like
he actually. Did you see him throwing leg kicks in this fight? I haven't seen this guy throw a leg kick in forever.
To the body, I saw leg kicks. I saw some vicious action where it's like, oh wow, and Atto fucking owes my man money. Because he's making him just suffer with what he's doing to him. I just don't want to see him. He's a legend, like you said. I firmly believe that. You know, the Conor situation notwithstanding, I do love and appreciate Jose Aldo. I don't want to see him get jobbed up by some rando Japanese person that we don't fucking know. Or, you know what I mean? Or that like 5 people on the planet know, and 2 of them are his mom and his dad. I don't want to see that happen to Aldo, and that's eventually what's going to happen if he stays out there too long. Especially because that name, like, there's going to be hungry Vietnamese people climbing out of caves that haven't seen sunlight for the last 30 years. They're going to be like, yo, Jose Aldo, I'm going to fuck this guy up. I just, that's all, that whole thing is a trip. And
after what Holloway did to him, I wouldn't think that he wanted to come back because those 2 beatings were vicious. Not as bad as what he did to Ortega.
Oh, Christ.
But
that was,
the beatings on Aldo were vicious because we'd never seen Aldo get beat like that before.
Yeah.
Conor threw 1 punch. And it just landed in the perfect spot.
Exactly.
And Aldo did what Aldo never does. He never charges forward. He's a counter puncher. He went forward because he just wanted to try and knock Connor's head off.
Mm-hmm.
And Connor capitalized on it. He counter punched and capitalized on it. Now, if that fight had gone out of the first round, do you think Connor would be, the one with his hands raised? I don't think so. Because his conditioning is questionable.
His conditioning is questionable, and look what Diaz did to him. Not Nick. I almost said Nick, but Nate. Right? I've heard in some circles Nate Diaz be compared to a poor man's Jose Aldo. In some circles, in terms of he tries, but he can't knock people out, but he tries to piece them up hands-wise, and he's got great jits. I think Jose Aldo's far better, all things considered.
Yeah, Aldo's gas tank isn't spectacular either, because if you watch it in that very first ranking fight, he really started fading towards the end of the third, fourth, and fifth round.
I have my hidden reasoning behind why.
Well,
you know.
So you looked at him in their second fight. His arms looked like he was in anime, and he was able to go 5 rounds counterpunching like crazy.
Unbelievable, right? It's power level,
and unable to be taken down at all.
There's a lot of squiggly question marks on a few of his performances, and I'm just going to leave it at that because he still is a legend in my eyes. But that's all I'm going to see, as well as
I don't take their legend status away with the steroid stuff. I don't take that stuff away because it was accepted before. They turned a blind eye before. It wasn't a big deal. Everybody did it. Nobody gave a shit. But then when you start putting rules into it, these guys that are getting caught now, you're a douchebag.
It's a what is it? They call it now. It's an intelligence test.
Mm-hmm. It was an intelligence test before.
Yeah, now, you're right. Now it's actually legitimately there's science and stuff. But
that's what Chael said. It was an intelligence test before.
That's what it was. It was on his podcast too. My old friend used to have me listen to it on Wednesdays.
Let's just hope Jose just rides off into the sunset after he fights out his contract.
To have nothing to do with the fight game unless he's training somebody. Or we see him on a reality show where he picks 3 kids out of the favela and tells them, I will pay for your education if you win an MMA match, like a pro MMA match. We could do something like that. He could run for fucking mayor of town.
That's not bad.
Do you know what the Brazilian political situation is down there? Don't get me fucking started on Jair Bolsonaro. Don't.
No. You know why I don't know? Because I have no ambition to ever go there.
Really? Not even the train at all? Ever? Well, the best guys are up here now. You're right. Honestly, you're right. I mean, yeah. Like, who would I go down there to train with? Nobody. Cool.
Enzo's here.
Yeah. He's here. I mean, Maia lives up here. A shit ton of Gracies. Hickson's out on the West Coast. You know? And
if I want just the world's most amazing Portuguese food, I can go right to north.
That's true, man. Where you can't go is Baltimore for amazing food of any kind.
Nope.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, there they have cook up, not cooking. Big difference.
I don't. Yeah.
So anyway, let's round this off for the main event fight. And this is kind of something that you and I could go off on our little tangent for before we get ready to close the show. So, Magic, Marlon Moraes was going in there in his second fight against Rafael Sunsao, looking to avenge his very close loss to Sunsao when he first came into the UFC. And Jesus Christ, did he dispatch him quickly.
317 officially, but it was a fast 317, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. He dropped him with the one punch and then guillotined his ass. And between, I did not think he fully had that guillotine in when he was on top. His arm didn't look like it was cinched enough, but I guess
it looks like it was a little bit out of position, like what I would be able to.
He's just that strong.
That's why I said it. I need the leverage. I need the technique. That's why they teach people jiu-jitsu. Moraes, for fuck's sake, it looks like he could squeeze off the top half of your cranium and just have it pop off if you got around your forehead. That's how strong this motherfucker.
Yeah, and it's just like I remember when it happened. Of course, extremely excited for Sean Teed and his teammates over there at Ricardo Almeida Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You saw Frankie was in his corner, which was pretty damn awesome. But how many more hoops is Dana going to make this kid jump through? So you have him fight Jimmy Rivera, and he knocks Jimmy Rivera out in 37 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Rivera was supposed to be fighting Dominic Cruz at that point, and of course, Dominic Cruz broke his hands
again,
his leg or his wrist, whatever the hell he did.
A stiff wind blew on him, and
yeah,
he crumbled like Samuel L. Jackson.
So Moraes beats the guy that you had fighting for a number one contender shot, and you put him in there against Rafael Assunção. Why? Because they're two Brazilian guys?
When I saw the matchup announced, I said, what? And then when it was announced where it was, I said, okay. But that's about it. And it wasn't anything that moved the needle. I'm so glad that it was this exciting and that it was a show out fight for our boy here. That's the best possible situation, because had it been anything but this, we would be talking about the poor morass that Moraes would be entrenched in, even more so than he is now. He's in no man's land.
This is his third first-round finish in a row.
Dude, if it was anybody else, I swear to God. We talked about this before, and I'll let you bring it up, but we both have a theory in terms of what the hell's going on, and it has nothing to do with performances in cage. What do you think?
It's just like Dana seems to have something against these Ricardo Almeida guys, because it's the same thing with Frankie Edgar at 145.
Yeah.
Every fight that he had was a number one contender shot. Then Conor wins the belt. Oh, if you beat Chad Mendes, the shot's yours. He knocks Chad Mendes out in 36 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like the magic number for these Almeida guys. Beats him in 36 seconds. Everybody's talking, all right, well, the Conor fight has to happen.
Yeah.
No, Conor fight doesn't happen.
No.
He fights Jose Aldo for the interim fucking belt because Conor got stripped due to inactivity.
I'm about as lost for words as you are.
So with Moraes, it's like, okay, so you fed him all the top guys of the division except for three guys. Dominic Cruz, who couldn't stay healthy.
No.
Cody Garbrandt, who's fighting somebody in his return fight.
That's who are they.
And TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah.
Well, we already know that we're not going to see Marlon fight for a belt this year or possibly next year because they're setting that fight up with Cejudo again. Mm-hmm. And listening to what TJ said, it's probably going to be for the 135 belt.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to have a champ situation again. And Moraes is just sitting in the cut.
Yeah.
How many more trap fights does this kid have to have?
And I hate to say this, but it's not like, and I'm not wishing ill on him or anything, but everybody's human. Like, we've seen people sit in this bridesmaid position for a bunch, and then suddenly something happens. They trip up. They have an undisclosed injury. That happens in the game. They don't tell anybody about it. They still put somebody. Something happens, right?
Frankie.
And then all that stuff, all that goodwill that you should have been building up at your employer's office, which is essentially what this is out the window.
Yeah, it's just one loss when you're climbing towards the top. That's all it takes. Now nobody's saying that he's going to lose, but it's like they say, any given Sunday. Well, any given Saturday night.
Yeah, exactly. Any Saturday night, or if you're in the UK, Sunday at 3 a.m. But but I don't want to see that happen to him. And it's like, and everybody has a doomsday counter on top of their head when they're fighting for a fucking living. So every other fight could be like, hey, this is him peaking. I want to see him grab that title, or at least have the opportunity to, while he's peaking, and hold on to it for a little while, because I think he could.
Well, because what was the whole big thing when he came over? Oh, well, he was the top over in World Series of Fighting. We don't know how he's going to fare over here. Well, he just knocked. What was it? He knocked Jimmy Rivera and Aljamain Sterling out in the first round. Vicious knockouts.
Jim, people like a lot of people sleep on Aljo still. I don't know why or how, but people do. Right? He's still under the radar slightly, criminally, in my opinion. But people sleep on Jimmy Rivera a lot too. Like and he's out there doing the Lord's work as well. So MMA math, like we mentioned at the top of the show, is a little janky. But
and now that we've mentioned those two names, Aljamain and Jimmy Rivera are finally getting to fight after all the trash talk. I know I was trying on Twitter to get that fight happening like a year or two ago.
I'm pulling for Aljo all day.
Oh yeah,
all day. I mean, of course you are too.
Of course.
I mean. But I just, what are you going to do? Because those three names you mentioned at the top of the division, he's not going to get his hands on me, you think? I don't think so. Dominic's going to be a commentator.
The only one I can see him fighting is Cody. That's it.
Good. Finally.
And the only way I see that happening is Cody beating this guy that he's fighting.
And Melvin and Marlon. Oh God. You put that name in my head. Marlon might get another trap fight in between them.
See, that's what I mean.
That's about it.
Yeah, but at this point, they're all trap fights for him. At this point, unless he goes up a weight just to get one fight under his belt, going up a weight, they're all trap fights.
Yeah. They knocked him for he's just fighting quote unquote bombs in the World Series. Came over, he got adjusted, and once he hit his groove, holy balls, did he hit his groove?
Yeah.
What do you want? Especially
hasn't he just lost one fight since he's been here? The Assunção fight.
Yeah.
Which was very close. Which was a very close decision that he lost in Brazil.
And I think they didn't give it to him because of where it came from. In my heart of hearts, I think that was a situation there. But what do you want more out of a dude at 135? What are we talking about with the 125-pound division in terms of, it's not exciting enough, it's this, it's that. The lighter guy, what we always say, and because it's true most of the time, the lighter guys don't knock you the fuck out. Things happen because it's 135 pounds a human versus
this guy does.
But holy shit, you have a dude that could take that division and stand on the shoulders of giants, as they say, and catapult it into the stratosphere. He can knock the fuck out of anybody, and he can grapple them the fuck up. Why wouldn't you be putting this dude out there? Right? Dress him up in a bow tie, put him on reality TV for a little bit, and I think he's a funny dude. From what I've heard, cut promos and shit, and you've told me, I think he's a genuinely charismatic.
He looks like Eddie Alvarez's little brother.
He does.
He looks like he could be his little brother.
He really does. And if they ever did a fucking reality show, I'm all about reality TV today. I don't know why. I'm sorry, but if they did, because I just want them to market these fighters, and because it helps everybody. It helps the brand. It helps us because it gets MMA more to the mainstream, and it helps them get paid. This thing's not going to be forever, right?
No, and the thing that scares me with him is just like we mentioned, like when Frankie fought Ortega, that was a trap fight. He took the fight because he needed to fight.
It's 2 weeks in a 6-week training camp where, God forbid, he fears he has staph, right? And he doesn't tell anybody, but he fights it. He gets on the super antibiotics, gets it done. It gets out. He's a gangster. He tells nobody, but he goes into a fight with a monster. They're not going to give him bums at this time, but they're not going to give him the title guys either. So it's like he's in that weird spot. So now he's down 2 weeks out of a 6-week camp, and he's got some wild business. Then it's over. And all they did, it's like in what did you do for me lately? It doesn't matter. Bullshit.
One misstep. That's it.
He could stub his fucking toe on the way to the cage. Suddenly, he steps wrong, blows his knee out. There's too many factors in this game for them to be fucking with him that much, and I don't rightly see why. If he was a boring fighter, even though he's kind of an extended team, we all love him. Okay, you would even say okay, you know,
Yeah.
but blanket, but no, he's not. He's knocking everybody out at a weight class that nobody knocks anybody out at.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. And I mean, he's doing it quick, and
Look at the
doing it often.
He had 3 knockouts in a row or 2 knockouts in a row, right? Look at the push they gave Cody Garbrandt. Remember when he was starching people on his way up? Every successive KO, it was like this dude became Jesus, Elijah, Muhammad, Buddha. Everyone, he got a new deity attached to his name. He was Kali, and this guy's doing the Lord's work in a division where you're always starving for talent or crying about the lighter guys ain't doing shit.
Yeah, no, it's not a good look, and I could see him following Eddie right to one. We keep mentioning one championship, but I could see him following out there.
Because you know what? Not for nothing, I think there's wild, untold amounts of money over there. I know you pick up what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. I'm not mad at it. Everybody should get paid. Don't know where it's coming from, but you know what? I don't give a fuck. Everybody go get paid over there, and I think Marlon might do that.
Well, here's a fight for you if that ever does happen before we close out the show. At 135, Marlon Moraes versus Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson.
Holy balls. That I am.
Right?
I'm trying to. Especially at the last thing you said, at 135.
Yeah, at 135.
135, especially because you're right. They have the hydration shit over there. They might force Mighty Mouse to go up. I don't know. He is, the size of an army soldier. The ones you get in the can. But
they're both the same size.
But it just
I've met Marlon in person. Trust me, they're the same size.
Marlon seems much more yoked out.
He's jacked. Yeah.
All right. I'm saying like his traps are on a race to reach his ears. And I say that like in a complimentary way.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. You got candy yams on there. But I think at 135, Jesus Christ, especially now, I'd have to see one fight for Mighty Mouse over there. And the rule set, the hydration, and the this and that. But I have it as a pickle right now.
Yeah. Right? Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
I think that would be some wild business out there.
Soccer kicks too. Because Marlon is just gonna be coming in trying to be fucking Pele.
I don't think he would get to the soccer kick part because his flying knee is faster than
people's punches.
Edson's spinning heel kick.
Yeah, it is. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad news. Really, he's a handful. That would be tremendous, man. I mean, and what I love is that it's a fight that would never happen in the UFC because they would have never let our boy wouldn't have gone up.
No, but I think that the more they keep pushing him down the line, he's just going to fight out his contract and just say, "I'm done. I'm out. Bye."
And he's going to be relatively fresh because unless he's doing wars in the gym, which I don't know, you might know.
I doubt it.
He did good, so he's smart. He's not getting that much punishment in these last round of fights.
No, and he's only 30.
I know.
He's only 30.
I'm telling you, man.
He hasn't even hit his prime yet.
No. He's got to get his man muscles at like 33, 34. Which means that then it's just going to be a fucking Decepticon running around uppercutting motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So, guys, this was a really fun show. We were set up to have a guest tonight. Unfortunately, he just messaged me about 20 minutes ago. Hey, listen, the guy's coming from Yonkers to go train out in the fucking boondocks over there at Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, getting ready for his Bellator debut. Hey, you guys are growing leaps and bounds. It's wonderful. We're going to set something up to have him on before his February 16th fight. Even if it's on a different night during the week, we will have it. We will have it because it's going to be great to interview him. We'd love to get him some exposure. Maybe, Roberto talk to him about, a fight book sponsorship or something like that. You never know. But let's give a special shout out to our actual sponsors. 80K Fightwear, Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, Madama Jiu-Jitsu, and Fightbook MMA. Guys, if you still do not have the ESPN Plus app, don't fret. It's very easy for you to find. Head on over to Fightbook MMA. Click on the tab that says ESPN Plus. Sign up for your 7 free day trial. Tell them the boys over at Pride Rules MMA sent you. Get yourself that ESPN Plus app because there's some great content that's on there and great UFC events that are on the way. Boys, thank you very much. This has been a great Monday night. I always love starting my week off like this. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and we will see you guys next week. We are Pride Rules Podcast. Good night.